Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Clarissa, and I put out new tarot readings every week. And as you can tell by the title of this week's video, we are going to be your hype woman again this week. I really enjoyed doing this similar video a couple weeks, well, it was probably like a couple months ago now, actually, where I just gassed you up and made you feel good about yourself and really pointed out the qualities that you should be admiring about yourself. And so I wanted to do that again for you guys this week. Just as a disclaimer, if you hear any snoring, farting, loud breathing, chewing, licking, whatever in the background, it is my French bulldog. He is in the room with me. He is passed out right now, so hopefully it'll just be snoring that we hear from him, but you never know, right? So I figured I'd just throw a little disclaimer in there. But anyway, as you can see, we have 3 different piles to pick from this week. So pile number 1, you have the hematite stone crystal as your signifier for this week's reading. I want to make sure that you can actually see this okay. This is a very pretty crystal. Okay. And then for pile number 2, we have the goldstone heart. And then for pile number 3, we have this lovely piece of green aventurine. All right, so again, pile number 1, 2, and 3. If you are drawn to more than one pile this week, I don't think that that is an issue, as you are a multifaceted being and there may be multiple facets of you or multiple characteristics of you that need to be hyped up today. So whatever you're the most called to do, please go ahead and do that. But just know that once you have selected your pile, you can go to the description box below to each individual timestamp and then select the timestamp correlated to your pile for your reading this week. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I love you, and let's go ahead and get into your readings. All right, hello there. If you chose the hematite crystal, then this is your reading pile number 1. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So as you can see here, I did go ahead and shuffle and lay out these cards for you. I do have some additional oracle cards that we will shuffle on camera for you. But I just wanted to get these ones taken care of because, well, as you know, I have little tiny hands and they just don't do the best with these cards, like these round cards. Love them. I love that oracle deck, so I wanted to use it for you guys. If you hear that kicking on right now, that's just my heater underneath me. I'm like, I don't want to turn on my actual heater yet. It's been pretty cold in Colorado, but I just don't feel like turning on my actual heater yet because it gets warm during the day. So I'm just kind of using a little space heater right now. So anyway, if you hear that, that's why. But let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. So as you can see, you have the healer, Apocalypsis, the Emperor, the Star, the Ace of Swords, the Hanged Man, and the King of Pentacles. So basically, you guys, with what I'm seeing, when I initially laid these cards out for you, I literally just get scorched earth vibes. I feel like you guys are not afraid of the truth. You're not afraid to start over, and you are not afraid of change or some chaos. You guys are really good at using a time of upheaval to heal. It's really giving me Scorpio regeneration vibes. You can easily shine a light on what's not working and set it ablaze, and you have no issues with this. You see situations or circumstances that aren't working as dead weight, and you would rather cut it off and start fresh. This is not to say that change is always easy, and it often leads you down a new area/path to work on healing or unlearning old patterns. But overall, you really do see the bright side of things that aren't working falling apart. Sorry, let me repeat that. So if you guys aren't familiar with this either, if you're new to this channel, I lay out the tarot cards ahead of time for myself to really like give a good synopsis of like what I'm seeing overall. I feel like sometimes I get really overwhelmed with messages or like things that I want to say, and this helps my ADHD brain like better organize my thoughts so that I'm not like repeating myself a million times and keeping you guys here forever, because I do value you and your time, and I appreciate you being here, and I don't ever want it to feel like a chore to sit down to watch one of my readings. So anyway, that is what I do, and that's what I'm reading off of right now. I just like typed up a little synopsis for myself prior to like starting this video, and so it's literally just me typing free thought, like just like free flow thought. So sometimes it doesn't make the most sense when I'm reading it back. Usually I can at least piece it together though. So if you're new here, that's what's going on. If you're like, what the hell is she doing? So anyways, like I was saying, overall, you really do see the bright side of things. And you understand that it's better for things to kind of fall apart when they aren't working, than for you to hold on to things that no longer work for you, no longer serve for you, and no longer that you no longer identify with, right? I feel like you guys are super, super strong and resilient because of this, because I get this feeling that this isn't like a new occurrence for you either. I feel like it took time for you to get used to this being your normal, that things just kind of switch up and change, and you have gotten to a point where you're just super flexible with it, and you're like, oh, well, whatever, like, it's fine. And I think that there's so much beauty in that when you get to this point where you're just kind of at peace with where life takes you. Because let's be real, how much control do we really have over our own lives? Like, we have some control. We're able to decide certain things for ourselves, but there's so many external factors that play a role in our day-to-day that I just feel like it's really amazing that you guys don't get so caught up on the control aspect and needing to really have, you know, a say or some like semblance of control in every situation that you're in, because you understand that that's just not realistic. And I feel like you've had so many upheavals in your life that you're just like, honestly, it hurts me more to try to have control, to try to hold on to things that aren't meant for me. And so maybe that is why this cycle happens so frequently for you too, because it's almost like you've just placed your trust in, you know, the universe and in everything kind of working out for you the way that it's meant to, right? And I think that that's very beautiful. I think that really shows how strong you are, how resilient you are, and how much of a fighter you are, because there's so many people, pile number 2, that would allow this shit that happens to you all the time to really knock them down, like to really knock them down and keep them down. And that's just not your style. I think a lot of this comes from this like unshakable self-belief that you will lead yourself through the darkness because you've done it so many times. You're very sharp, and problem solving is not difficult for you. You really can cut through all of the BS and see what people are really saying / what they really need. I feel like some of you would make really good therapists. It's like you have this ability to listen to what's being said and truly understand that what someone is needing to hear from you, or what advice they need in the moment. And that's just it. You aren't even always trying to give advice. Just by you listening and really hearing what someone else is saying, it's like you're like, the things that you say in response to what they're saying are exactly what they need to hear without them even asking you for advice and you even meaning to give advice. It's just like, there's something about you guys where you always just kind of have the right thing to say, and you're really, really good with your words. And I think it does help that you're willing to kind of sit in limbo and be pensive and like really listen to what people have to say so that you can really process the information and respond in an appropriate manner. Because I really do feel, this is so cliche to say, but I do really believe that a lot of us are listening to respond and we're not listening to hear, right? And I feel like you guys are listening to hear and understand other people's opinions, perspectives, all of that jazz. Let me see where I was here in my note. And like, that's just it. You aren't always trying to give advice. Like I said, just by you listening and really hearing what is being said, You just always have the right thing you always say the right things that someone else needs to hear. I feel like this ability to see other people's problems and offer realistic solutions to their problems, or just having this uncanny ability to say what others need to hear, could take you really far in this life. It could lead to a lot of success for some of you. Also, I feel like your ability to be flexible and go with the flow will serve you well and lead you to the most financial, mental, physical, and emotional success. So that's kind of what I was getting at here, you guys, with the King of Pentacles. Because again, I feel like this upheaval, this like constant change, this regeneration happens to you very frequently. It's almost like it's kind of like what you're meant to do in this life is just, which we all are to some degree, right? We're all meant to go through upheavals and change and periods of difficulty. But for you guys, I really feel like it's amplified almost. And this is just like how things have always been for you. And you're really good at just sitting in it. You're really good at being hopeful for the future and what's to come, and sitting in this moment of complete destruction and really like sitting there and analyzing, okay, this is what wasn't working here. This is what was. Let's rebuild this, you know, let's rebuild this ideology or this perspective or, you know, this circumstance to be better than it was before. And I feel like your ability to do this, your ability to be patient, your ability to really like use your mind to problem solve is what's going to lead you to the most abundance in your life. And when I see abundance, especially with like the King of Pentacles, I don't just see it as like our monetary gains. I see it as like our physical and emotional well-being. I see it as, you know, being stable in our lives and feeling content and happy with where we are, right? And again, that's not to say that once you get here, you won't go through these cycles ever again, because that would be a total freaking lie. But when you do, it's almost like you just have a better way of being able to handle and manage these situations, because again, they've happened to you so frequently. You don't allow them to knock you down and keep you down, and you use it as an opportunity to let go of the things that no longer work for you, to usher in the new things that do, and to really like problem solve. And again, I think that even with those of you that like may just be in career positions where you can creatively problem solve, that is going to lead to a lot of success for you, because it's just something that you're really good at, that other people have difficulty with kind of seeing like all of the different solutions and options that they have. It's like things start to go south for you and you've already got like A through Z different plans lined up, different ways to solve these solutions or to solve these problems, and like these different solutions lined up. And to me, even that's like super impressive, because sometimes I have to take this shit one day at a time, but I feel like you guys just, it's like easy for you and you don't even think about it. And it's just kind of comes second nature to you. And I think that's so cool. Again, though, as I had mentioned before, I feel like some of you really have the ability to be like a very powerful, I guess that's not like the best words that I'm looking for, but like to be a very effective therapist, because again, you have this ability to really listen to people, to really hear them, and to really say like what they need to hear, and to help them like problem solve. But also like you're really good at just listening and hearing people out and understanding their side of the story, and understanding where they're coming from, and really understanding like where the root of their problems kind of stem from, and being able to point that out to them. Okay, not everybody has that ability, pile number one, and you guys really need to like understand that this makes you guys like, this is your superpower almost. Like I really feel like this is your superpower. This is something that you are able to do that so many other people are unable to do. And I think that because it comes so naturally to you guys, you don't realize how amazing of a gift it really is. So yeah, I think that you guys really just need to appreciate the fact that you are such a keen problem solver. You're so good at working through turmoil and problems and issues in your own life. And, you know, while there could be a lot of psychological reasons as to why that is, whatever the reasoning is, I feel like you guys have worked through a lot of that. And at this point, you're very grateful for where you are, because a lot of that turmoil that, you know, other people your age and like in your demographic, your age group, whatever, are going through, like for them, it feels like the end of the world. And for you, it's just like another Tuesday, right? So anyway, I feel like that is what Spirit's really wanting me to hype you guys up about, and for you to really realize just how incredible you guys are and how like special your mind is and how beautifully it works for you. And just, you guys are really incredible. And I just get this feeling from Spirit that you really don't acknowledge that enough. And you really do need to acknowledge that about yourself and really, you know, see all of these multitude of talents that you have for what they are. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of your oracle cards here. So I've got like 2 different oracle decks that we'll shuffle through and see like what other information we get from Spirit regarding, you know, what you need me to be your hype woman for, like what I need to gas you up about. Because again, I think that you guys are really incredible, and I really get this feeling that you just you don't see it in yourself because you just assume that because you're able to do these things, other people are, and that's not always the case. I think that we all have very special, this sounds like really corny, but I really do think it's true. I think that we all have very special like attributes and things that we contribute to a group, contribute to the world. And this is one of yours, pile number 1. Like this is one of yours. I really didn't want that many cards, but since they all came out, we'll just go for it. Passion, wholeness, and cleansing. Okay. So it's interesting that cleansing came up because I really do. So when the star card came out for you guys after seeing apocalyptics here, it really did make me think of the Tower. And that's why I said it's like you guys just find the hope and the beauty through all of the destruction, right? You, where other people see loss, you see potential for opportunity, potential for growth, potential for change. You see like, and I'm literally picturing in my mind like somebody burning like down an entire plot of land, like just setting it ablaze, and other people freak out and see it as destruction. Like I grew up in Kansas, right? This shit happens all the time where they're burning the soil, and it actually does help provide nutrients back to the soil, to like better help with crop growth in like the next year. Like I don't know everything about farming, right? But I do know that that is something that's done. And to me, driving on the highway, seeing all the freaking smoke, I'm like, what is going on? Like the world is ending, right? Especially as a kid, you're like, why is there all this smoke? Why is there such a large fire off into the distance? What's going on? But like for you guys, it's like you see it as this ability to literally start fresh and to make things better than the way they were before. And I feel like that's why cleansing is coming out for you guys. And this can also like point to, you know, you kind of cleansing yourself of like different people, circumstances, places every couple of years. I could see you guys definitely being, let me take a drink here real quick. I could see you guys definitely being like the nomadic friend that's like living somewhere else every couple of years and just like totally reinvents themselves and changes things up like super frequently just because you want to and it's fun for you and you like to change up the way that you live and change up, you know, everything about you because you can reinvent yourself when you move other places. And so I just think it's really cool. You guys aren't afraid of that. You aren't afraid to be like out with the old and with the new. With passion here coming up, I feel like, again, when I was talking earlier about how some of you like may end up being like really good therapists, this could be something that you become very passionate about. You being able to help other people problem solve and work through like these difficult times of their life could become something that you become very, very passionate about. You do a lot of research on, you just like really help people heal. You help people work through the trauma of it all. And I'm literally thinking like, you know, somebody that works with people going through grief or divorce counseling or, you know, marital issues or whatever, because therapists see a number of different patients, right? Like all experiencing different things. And so I think that this could become something that you're very passionate about, because you see how easy you're able to affect change in your own life by just adopting this like ability to, you know, implement all of these different solutions to the problems at hand. And again, like, I may not be the first person that's ever telling you this, and if I am not, then please take this as confirmation that this is a very special gift that you guys have, pile number one, to be able to do this and to see the beauty in the chaos, right? Because not everybody can do that. And so if you've never heard this before, please, 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 please sit with yourself and realize how gifted, like how special this makes you. But also, if this is not the first time you're hearing it, please take this as confirmation, because I feel like for a lot of you, this is confirming stuff that you already know, okay? And again, this could lead you into finding like a career, finding an avenue that you're really passionate about. Maybe therapy won't be the thing for you being a therapist for somebody, but again, maybe you'll be able to find a career where you're able to really creatively problem solve, where you're really able to think out of the box and see things differently than other people do. And, you know, I don't know. There are probably a bunch of different areas. I'm a nurse, so like, you know, we creatively problem solve to a degree, but we're also very by the book. For you, I feel like there's so many different career opportunities that you could have that could really help you propel yourself, like, and really help you become super successful, because you're relying on your ability to problem solve and to be creative with it, and to, again, be that person that when somebody just has like a plan A solution, you have A through Z already lined out, okay? And then wholeness here, again, I think that this is really pointing to when we are able to let go of these things that no longer serve us, right? Whether they be people, places, ourself, our own ideologies, when we're able to just kind of let these things go and we don't hold on to them so tightly, we ultimately are able to become a better, healed, more whole version of ourselves, right? For me, this is really giving the example of like somebody that grew up in a very toxic family dynamic. And like, this may not be you at all. This is, again, just an example that's coming to mind for me. So if you grew up in a very toxic family dynamic, and let's say that you just kind of accepted it and you went with it and you rolled with it for the first 25 years of your life, and then it's like all of a sudden things just kind of clicked for you and you were like, this isn't working. This is really unhealthy. Like, this is really all pretty effed up. And you decide to, you know, maybe stop spending less time or stop spending so much time with your family. Maybe some family members that are very toxic, you cut off. And I think that sometimes we need to do those things, maybe not permanently forever. Like, I'm not saying you can't ever speak to those people again and that this would be an easy thing to do, because it's not. But sometimes we need to do these things and let certain people or things go for us to really see our own value and for us to really heal from certain situations that have occurred. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing here. It's like all of this upheaval, all of this chaos, all of these problems that, you know, result in like a tower moment for you. It's really like allowing you to see the beauty and wholeness in yourself, right? To acknowledge and see that, you know, some people we're not meant to have in our lives forever, and that's okay. The time we spent with them was beautiful and they taught us something valuable during that time. You know, we're not always supposed to hold on to the same ideologies and principles, because sometimes we learn new things that make us change our mind, and that's okay also. That's what life is about, is change, growth, evolution, regeneration, right? Like, that is truly what life should be about. And I think that overall, like, all of this change and upheaval has allowed you to become more whole within yourself. And again, like I had mentioned before, I really do see like this unshakable belief that you will be able to light the torch and guide yourself out of the darkness. And I think that that's what this has given you, pile number one. Like, you guys are really, really, really cool. Like, I've got goosebumps. Like, you are literally, you're amazing, pile number one. And all of the shit that you've been through, while it's been hard, and I will never, ever, 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 try and diminish what you've been through and the struggles that you've had, because I don't know all of you personally. And I feel like everybody's struggles are always different. And, no, not one struggle is greater or worse than somebody else's, right? Everybody's struggles are just as important. I feel like all of the hardship, all of the change, all of the adversity, all of the upheaval has allowed you to really rely on yourself, love yourself, and know that you can always trust you. And I think that that's what has allowed you to remain open in trusting other people as well, because of your outlook on things and your ability to literally, like I had mentioned, be like, you know what, well, this relationship didn't work out, and that's okay. Whether it be friendship or romantic, that's okay. It wasn't supposed to work out, and that's all right. But this person did teach me XYZ, right? So yeah, just like that's kind of what I'm seeing for you guys. Let's go ahead and get into your last set of oracle cards here. And I'm sorry for the noise in the background. My friend, she decided to get up and walk around just to go back to the same patch of light that he was on earlier. I don't know. Dogs are weird sometimes, But you gotta love them, because all they do is love us and just want to be next to us. And, if that's all that he wants, that's all that's fine with me. That makes me happy. And yeah, I love having him around. He's my little companion. Usually I'll let my cat be in here too, but I literally tried to film the intro to this video like 4 freaking times because she was being so obnoxious. And then she started, using her scratch post and stuff. And I was like, all right, Miss Ma'ams, it's time for you to leave the room. So let's see. What final messages do we have for pile number 1, Spirit? What else do we want to add for them? Water element, sensing. What else? One more card, ideally, Spirit. And again, my little heater underneath me kicked on again. So if you're hearing that, that's what that is. Watch my little hands struggle. Okay. One more little shuffle here. We'll just go ahead and cut. All right. Earth element, stability. Okay, I think it's actually interesting that both of these came up, right? Because I feel like this sums up exactly who you guys are. And I feel that way because I really did get like Scorpio regeneration vibes from this pile. You may not be a Scorpio at all. We all do have some Scorpio in our chart though, so I would implore you to look at your birth chart, which you'll be able to know like what your birth chart is by knowing your time of birth, so that you know what your rising sign is. Then you're able to map out the rest of the houses and the ruling sign based off of that. But anyway, I would be surprised if you guys didn't have some level of Scorpio in your chart. If you don't though, that's okay. I just feel like this is coming out because, again, it's your ability to really connect with people, right? To really see people for who they are, to listen to their concerns and their problems, and to assist them, to provide advice, to literally even just say the right thing at the right time. I feel like you guys are very intuitive. You're actually like very in touch with your emotions. And even if you, again, don't have Scorpio energy in your chart, you could have other, like could have Cancer or Pisces in the 8th house. Yeah, I just feel like you guys are very good at sensing, again, like it's saying here, what other people need. And you're really good at sensing like what needs to be done in the moment. And again, like as I've said over and over again, pile number one, you guys, this is like your gift. This is incredible that you're able to do that, because there's a lot of people that can't. I'm sorry. It's like my friend, she's in the background rolling around, like agreeing with me. We'll go with that, right? So he's making all the noise. He's like scratching his back on the freaking carpet, being himself. So I'm sorry about all that noise, guys. But anyway, I really do feel like, you know, that's why this came out for you guys. But it's interesting because we also got the earth element of stability. And I had mentioned that here with the King of Pentacles, that ultimately, you know, you guys being able to tap into this gift is what's going to allow you the most stability, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially. Like, it will allow you the most stability and the most balance, I feel like, in your life, right? So really, like, tap into these gifts that you have, because you guys are very strong healers, even with just like your words and your thoughts. Because I really do feel like your ability to communicate with other people is what allows you to heal them and heal yourself, pile number one. You guys are really, really special. You guys are incredible. And I really hope that you can see that after this reading. Because again, for some of you, I do feel like this reading is a confirmation of what you already know about yourself. But for those of you that don't, please acknowledge this about yourself, because it is a very important aspect of who you are. And again, this is not something that everybody has the ability to do. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave your reading here, pile number one. I really enjoyed this. I hope that you did too. And I really, really hope that it helped gas you up, and I got to be your hype woman here, and you feel really good about yourself, because I think more often than not, we're so harsh on ourselves that we need a moment where other people recognize, you know, the beauty within us so that we can too. So anyway, you guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new pick a card readings every week. Please leave a comment down below if this resonated with you. Give this video a thumbs up so that it can reach as many people as possible that may also be needing to hear this message. And I hope to see you guys in next week's reading. Thanks. Bye. All right, hello there, pile number two. If you chose the Goldstone crystal, then this is your reading this week. All about, you know, things about you that I can gas you up for, be your hype woman for. This is all about me making you guys really see yourselves and feel good about who you are and like where you're going. And I feel like so often we can be so harsh on ourselves. We can be our harshest critic. And I think it's so important for us to take a beat and remember that there are so many beautiful things about us, okay? So we'll go ahead and get into your reading. I do want to apologize in advance. My cat just came in the room. She's being crazy. My dog's a little crazy in the background. If it gets really bad, I will pause the video so that you guys don't have to hear a lot of it. But right now, they're both in here and it may get loud. So just so you know. As you can see here, I do have your tarot cards and a couple oracle cards laid out for you already. I hate shuffling this deck on camera. I love this deck. And I don't mind that the cards are like circular, but my little hands just struggle so much to adequately shuffle them. So I just went ahead and did it off camera. And then I've got your tarot cards laid out as well. And then I do have some additional oracle cards that we will get into over the course of the reading. So we'll get into those after we get through this. So all we have for you guys today is the Mask, Aletheia, the Self, Two of Swords, Seven of Wands, Queen of Cups, Temperance, and the Nine of Wands. So let's go ahead and get into like what this is giving me. Like overall, I get the sense that you have always had to hide certain aspects of who you are. I get the feeling that you've been doing this for so long and something has happened recently, like maybe you're in therapy or maybe you've started to do a lot of personal development, and this has led you to realize that you don't have to feel ashamed of certain aspects of yourself. We all have light and dark aspects, and the more we try to hide certain parts of ourselves, we are only deceiving ourselves in the process. We are also deceiving others by not being our truest, most authentic self. I get the feeling that you wearing this mask led to a lot of issues with your self-trust. I feel like we're at this point now where you guys are really starting to rebuild this trust you have with yourself, and you're stopping to care so much about what other people think about you and the box that they want you to fit in, because let's be real, a lot of us grow up in family dynamics or situations where we were put into a box by our parents. So like for me, for instance, I was put into the high achieving academic box by my parents, and you know, I felt like I couldn't pursue anything creative outside of that because I was the kid that was supposed to be very academically gifted. I was the kid that was going to be the doctor or the scientist or, you know, something big, right? Because I'm smart, like I'm really smart, and I get school, I get numbers, I get all of that stuff that some people struggle with. And because of that, I was put in that box. But again, it's like, because I was put in that box, I didn't explore a lot of my creativity. So that's like a lot of the vibe that I'm getting here from you guys. I get the feeling also that for a lot of you, this had to do with you hiding like your more sensitive and emotionally open side. I feel like for you, it was frowned upon to show any emotion that wasn't anger, as for whatever reason, anger tends to be the only socially acceptable emotion, especially when you hear like misogynistic men talk about how women are overly emotional, but yet they'll go from 0 to 100 in 0.5 seconds because for whatever reason, they don't consider anger to be an emotion. I don't know, but that tends to be the only socially acceptable emotion. And so I feel like anger was fine. It was fine for you to be angry, but for you to be sensitive, for you to be compassionate, empathetic, understanding, for you to be anything outside of that emotion-wise was just like not acceptable for you guys. I feel like you guys have truly started to open yourselves up, or you're on the path to do just this. I feel like you are no longer hiding parts of who you are. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, like in the intro, you are a multifaceted being with various different sides and interests, and you do not need to limit yourself anymore to satisfy someone else and fit in their box. I feel like you guys are still learning how to properly balance all sides and facets of yourself, as the mask or appearance that you have worn most often will try to take the lead as it... I'm sorry, my animals are being so obnoxious. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So as I was saying, I feel like you guys are still learning how to properly balance all the sides and facets of yourself, as the mask or appearance that you've worn most often will try to take the lead, as it is what you're most comfortable with. So really try to pay attention to your behaviors and actions and make sure that they are genuine, like they are coming from your authentic being, and you're no longer like trying to carry this burden of pretending to be someone you aren't. You are living as your most authentic self, and this is beautiful, pile number 2, because it is not something that everyone is able to do. A lot of people go their entire life without really learning who they are and being able to be themselves. So I really think that you guys are finally at this place where it's almost like you have let this old version of yourself who put on this front for other people die off, and you're tired of it. You really want to live your life authentically and be who you're meant to be, and you can't do that when you're constantly wearing a mask for other people and denying these parts of yourself that do exist. So like back to what I was talking about earlier with my own personal example, I let parts of my creativity suffer and die off because I was too afraid to engage with it, because I didn't think it was something that I could even be good at. I'm so sorry for all of the noise of my animals. Like they just really want to be obnoxious today. I'm so sorry. But anyway, I really do feel like you finally gotten to this point of peace with yourself, and it's like you're rebuilding trust with yourself. That's what I'm really seeing here with the Two of Swords, because essentially like what we're doing here, she's like throwing swords at this dartboard and at this target. And this requires a lot of self-trust and awareness and having had practiced this, right? Because she is blindfolded in this card. And so she has to have trust in herself that she's not going to kill the animals that are here or, you know, not land outside the target. It's this belief in herself and her like being able to intuitively trust herself and her instincts, as well as knowing that she is making a calculated decision doing this because she's practiced for so long that it's like muscle memory, right? And so I think that what Spirit is saying here is that you guys are getting to this place now where you trust yourself more. You're trusting your intuition, your emotions. You're trusting yourself to make the best possible decisions for you, but while using emotion and logic and not feeling like you have to deny yourself of one or the other because of what other people have told you to do and what other people have told you to be. I feel like you're really coming back to your whole self, and it's almost like you're starting to really be the observer of your thoughts, right? I believe it was in this card. I kind of want to read one of these two because I think that it was a really beautiful message. Sorry, let me get the book out. All right, sorry guys, I'm back. I had to pause the video for like the 4th time. I had to kick out my cat. I looked for the self passage in the Wild Unknown Archetype guidebook here, and I'll go ahead and read that to you guys because it is what I was looking for in terms of like what I wanted to get across, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and read that to you guys. Hopefully I don't have to pause again. It's like either been my freaking animals today or my neighbors. Like I can deal with my animals, you know, because I can kick them out of a room or whatever, but my neighbors can be so obnoxious. So anyway, back to positive things. So we have the self, the soul, the witness, the watcher. The self is the prism that allows the spectrum of our personalities to radiate. It does not judge, prohibit, suppress, or oppress any of its parts, as it lovingly knows that all aspects have a time and a place and leads us to experience the full breadth of life's offerings. The self is the central abiding container, the awareness of the infinite universe of possibilities. When this card appears, it's a call to step back in, to witness consciousness, to observe yourself navigating the world. Ask yourself, am I the stew or am I the chef? In most situations, our ego draws us into the cauldron where we swirl, spin, and smolder in chaos. Yet the self is a graceful culinary dancer, watching, waiting, observing as the spectrum of the ingredients become the flavor of our life. Look into the mirror for 30 seconds or more. Attempt to see the you behind the you. So I think that this is what it really boils down to, you guys. I feel like you guys have started to observe your thoughts more and observe like the things that you're doing more as like a third party bystander, right? So when we're able to do this, and this is not something that I've mastered yet at all. So like, if you have any tips, please leave them in the comments down below, or, you know, give me like some good reading material or something. It's something that I'm still really working on, like separating myself from my thoughts, because we are not our thoughts. And I think that you guys have come to this term where you like realize that you are not your thoughts. You are more than your thoughts. And you are this whole multifaceted being behind your thoughts, right? So just because you have one negative thought, it's not that you're a negative person. You know, usually these things come up for other reasons. So like, for instance, I was watching this person talk about emotions the other day on TikTok, and essentially they were analyzing jealousy and why that came up, right? So, you know, you see something on social media, for instance, and you get this like pang of jealousy. And a lot of the time it can lead back to us feeling insecure about our own position in life and like our own station and what's currently going on in our life. And so like our emotions come up to tell us different things about like deeper seated issues. And I think you're really starting to be able to analyze that and understand that, and you accept that you're feeling that way and that that's okay. And it's really allowing you to build trust with yourself, to not care as much about what other people think. It's almost like, again, like I said, you went through this death of your previous self, and it's now like you're able to really see yourself for who you are and see your thoughts for what they are and see your feelings for what they are. And you're no longer fighting them off anymore and trying to hide them and trying to hide who you are. You're really, really living as your most authentic self. And if you're not here yet, you guys, you will be. Like, I promise you, this is the path that you're currently on. So keep doing whatever it is you're doing. Keep like reaching towards this, because I really think that this is beautiful. This is a beautiful place to be in, you guys. And like I had mentioned, not everybody gets here. Not everybody is able to live in their most authentic way. They're not able to be themselves because they've been told that being themselves is bad. They've been told that certain aspects of themselves are bad. And that's just not true. But like, for you to be at this point where you see and recognize the value in every facet of yourself and all of your emotions and all that you are, is a very, very, very beautiful thing. Pile number 2. And I think you guys should be very proud of yourself for this. Because again, it's like very hard to get here. Like, it's something that I am still actively working on. And I think a lot of people are still actively working on. If you just heard that kick on, that's just my little space heater. I think I mentioned this for pile number 1, but not for you guys. I'm being stingy and like not wanting to turn on my heat yet because it warms up pretty well throughout the day in Colorado. But I like am a little cold in my apartment today, and my dog was a little cold earlier, so I turned on the heater so he wouldn't like die of cold of being cold, because you know, little Frenchies, they get cold and they start shivering and it just makes me feel bad. So anyway, we've got the little space heater on and going, so that's probably what you guys are hearing. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at some of your oracle cards here. So I have this deck, and then I have another one that we'll shuffle through and look at any additional messages that Spirit has for you. But yeah, I think that you guys, like, the biggest thing I could hype you up on is just like how far you've come, because it's really hard to recognize that we are limiting ourselves and that we're not being our truest, most authentic self. And I really think that you guys are at this point where you're starting to unlearn all that you're not, right? And I think that that is the beautiful thing about like healing and growing, is unlearning these negative like thoughts or behaviors, unlearning all of these things that we're really truly not, and really becoming who we're supposed to be. All right, I'll do one more shuffle and then I will just go ahead and cut the deck. Aiming for like 2 cards here for any more messages from Spirit. Alright. I meant to just shuffle there. Okay. So we have leadership and we have passion. It's funny, we got passion in pile number 1 also. So I feel like for leadership for you guys, why this is really coming out is because by you guys living your most authentic life and being who you are, and you know, being open to every aspect of who you are, not shaming yourself for being a certain way or trying to diminish these other aspects of you, you're really going to inspire a lot of people to do the same in your life. And, you know, I really think that what Spirit's saying here is just lead by example. You know, just be who you're supposed to be, and just to literally just be and exist as your authentic self, and that will inspire other people to do the same thing. there's literally nothing else that I feel like you have to do. You're literally just meant to be like this example. You're meant to be there as like this pillar that other people can look up to and, you know, really admire. And other people may ask your advice and like your opinion and like may ask and seek out your help. And I think that's okay if you help those people that are seeking out your help. But what I really want to caution here, pile number 2, and this may just be a message for a couple of you, don't allow this all to get to your head. What I mean by that is like, don't think that you're better than somebody else and you're on like this beautiful, remarkable journey that other people aren't. Like, we're all just as special. We're all just important. We all live these beautiful, complex, dynamic lives. And, like, don't forget that. Don't allow like your ability to be truly authentic and vulnerable and open to make you think that you're better than somebody else, because you're not, okay? I really needed to say that. So I don't know if that's something you needed to hear. If that message doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. But I feel like maybe for a couple of you, that's something that needed to be said. But anyway, yeah, you guys are literally going to be able to just lead by example, just being, and other people want to follow suit, and other people will want to live authentically just because they see you doing it and they see how happy you are and how just like at peace you seem. And I feel like that's what we all are really searching for, right? Is peace. We want a peaceful, beautiful existence. And I feel like that's where you're headed, pile number 2, if you're not there already. And then with passion coming up here, I think it's so funny that we got this for pile number 1 also. For you guys, I feel like by you being your most authentic, genuine self, it really is going to reignite your passion and like vigor for life. And I think that's really going to shine through. It's like literally going to be overflowing in you, this peace, this passion, this desire, this like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I just get like really happy thinking about it. Just like how you guys are going to feel so content and so peaceful and just like passionate again about life and about living and about where you are and how much you've come. Like, really, guys, I feel like my purpose here is to gas you up on like how much progress you have made, because I feel like you've come so far, pile number 2, and you should be so proud of yourselves, because again, this is hard work. This is not where everybody gets to like be in life. And the fact that you're here and the fact that you're working on this or toward this, and the fact that you're like getting to this point where you're really able to accept and love yourself for who you are, like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And like just the beauty and love that I feel from it is just like brimming over. And I feel like that's what other people are going to see as well. That's what other people will feel. And they're literally just going to be like, I want your life. I want to live my life like you. And again, I think that you're able to like be a mentor and help people if you want to in that kind of capacity. But I think that another message that's coming through is like, don't make it seem like other people have to do things the exact same way that you did it to be successful. Because again, everybody is walking their own unique path, and this is just like your unique path, and it's beautiful. But yeah, don't feel like you have to bend over backwards, go out of your way, or even like, you know, try to guide people the exact same way that you got here, because it may not work for everybody. But like you literally just being like a hype woman also, or a hype man, and just like cheering people on and like really like celebrating people's small accomplishments with them will be so helpful for people. So like, I think that might be something for some of you to hang on to, okay? But yeah, I think that really like overall, you guys, my purpose here today is to just remind you how far you've come, the beauty of that all, the beauty of this journey, and to encourage you to keep going, because you may not be 100% here yet, and that's okay. But I really foresee that like this is where you guys will be going. This is the path that you're currently headed down. Let's go ahead and take a look at your last couple oracle cards here. So I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle this deck. I struggled real hard with pile number 1 to shuffle this deck. So hopefully it's not as bad for you guys, but we'll see. We just do the best we can. you guys, I kind of zone out a little bit when I shuffle. I just really try to think about, you know, getting you guys these additional messages, and if there's anything else left that Spirit really has to say and touch on that I haven't mentioned, making sure that we hype you guys up for everything that you are, okay? Because again, there's like so much more I'm sure that I could hype you guys up on, but since you're so, like, everyone is so multifaceted, multi-dynamic, like, you know, I think that this is just the big area that you guys needed that extra oomph from, you know, because especially healing and like working through this side of ourselves and really accepting who we are can be so hard. It's such hard work, and you guys really, really, really need to like celebrate your accomplishments and your milestones with this more too, because I feel like we get so wrapped up in the end journey that we don't, the end like result, I mean, we don't really take the time to fully celebrate the journey. Okay, that's so weird. We got Earth Element for you guys here too, and you've seen me shuffling, like, and then we have Grand Trine, Blessing. So I think it's interesting that we got Earth Element for you guys as well with stability. And we got Grand Trine, Blessings. I got Earth Element also for pile number 1, and we had gotten the Passion card for pile number 1. So let's take a look at that Earth Element first. Oh, excuse me, guys. Anyway. For the Earth Element, I feel like it's actually really tapping in here to Temperance, because I feel like you guys at this point are really still tapping into this balance of being able to like fully express yourself and who you are, without allowing like the old parts of you, or like even that old mask that you had developed, to interfere, and really being able to like balance those dynamics better. I'm sorry, my friend, she's like getting up into this little beanbag chair that I have because he's a diva and he needs to be on comfortable things, literally. I'm sorry to get off topic, but this boy, I swear to God, like, he has to lay on the couch. The floor is not good enough for him, so I'm surprised he's been laying on the floor this long. Anyway, sorry about that. I feel like with the Earth Element coming up here, like, ultimately, again, you have to get to this point where you feel stable enough and like secure enough in who you are that you don't shy away from like expressing yourself to other people, even people that you may just have met, and that you don't rely on this mask anymore to, you know, hide those qualities and characteristics about yourself, because the right people who are meant to appreciate you will, I promise. And truthfully, the mask that you had on was hindering you in some instances from meeting those people and making those connections, because you were meeting other people who aligned with that mask of yours, that version of yourself that you had created, and not necessarily who you are. I also think that ultimately, like, by you being able to balance this out more, by you being able to, you know, give each part of yourself equal attention and love and understanding, that's going to give you the most stability, like mentally and physically and emotionally. It's going to allow you to feel the most emotionally stable and grounded. And I think that that's really important for a lot of you guys, because again, like I had mentioned earlier, I feel like for this pile, it had been frowned upon for you guys to be vulnerable and be open emotionally. And I think that it's really important for you to do that, to find that stable ground, for you to find that stability, and for you to be able to really trust and be open with other people. It's so important for us to be able to express ourselves and our needs and our feelings, for us to be able to have those things met by other people. With Grand Trine, Blessings coming out, I don't know, I really get the feeling like this whole journey that you guys are on, this very much so could be like a lifelong journey for you, something that you're constantly having to work on and develop, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that for something like this to take an entire lifetime, because again, like I had mentioned to you guys, like we don't always get this. Like not everybody always gets this. Not everybody gets to be their most authentic and vulnerable selves. Not everybody is meant to walk that same path as you. And I think that ultimately, like what Spirit is saying here is that, you know, by you doing this, it is going to bring the most amount of blessing into your life, you guys. By you continuing to work on this, by you continuing to be dedicated to yourself and to build that self-trust and that self-reliance, and just like really being able to trust yourself and to understand yourself and to fully love yourself, like that is going to bring you so many blessings in your lifetime. And that could be something that you came here to learn. Like, and I really am like reading more and getting more into astrology. Eventually, I would love to do like birth chart readings and stuff like that. I just don't feel like I know enough at this point, but I really feel like for you, like this could have been a mission for you. This could have been something your soul came here to do, is for you to really learn how to express yourself, your emotions, how to love and accept yourself, and how to have that self-trust and reliance, because maybe it's something that you haven't had in previous lifetimes. So anyway, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave your reading here. I really, really enjoyed this pile number 2. And just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. I feel like you guys are on such a good path and you're really headed in the right direction. And I really hope that this provided some confirmation for you and made you see like just how much progress you've made, because I really feel like you've made a lot of progress and you really need to like celebrate that more. Celebrate it. Celebrate where you are now and like from where you've come. Okay, so anyway, I love you guys. If this resonated with you, please leave me a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up so it can reach as many people as possible that may also need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new pick a card readings, new tarot readings every week. I love you guys so much. I hope all the best for you, and I really hope to see you in my reading next week. Thanks. Bye. Hello there, pile number 3. So last but not least, of course, we have you guys here. And we have the green aventurine crystal. So as a reminder, if you picked this crystal, then this is your reading regarding, you know, what you need to be hyped up about. What do I need to gas you up about? How can I instill some confidence, some confirmation, and some love into you, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. As you can see, I have pre-shuffled some of your cards. I've been pre-shuffling the tarot because, as you know, if you've been watching for a while, I like to lay out your tarot cards and type up a little synopsis of like the messages that I'm getting. It helps me like have a more like clear, definitive like approach to what I'm doing so that I'm not all over the place, because I feel like otherwise I kind of get a little overwhelmed with everything that's coming into me, and ADHD brain, just like this helps my ADHD brain. And then I went ahead and pre-shuffled some of your oracle cards as well, only because these cards are hard for my little baby hands to shuffle. I love these cards though. I love this deck so much, so I wanted to include it. And then I do have oracle cards for you off screen, like to the side here, that will shuffle after we've gotten into this. So we have for you guys today the Shaman, the Storm, the Bardo, the Queen of Cups, the Chariot, the Two of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Swords. I do want to give you a little forewarning. You may hear some noise in the background. My Frenchie is in the room with me right now. He's just chilling and sleeping, but he may get up and, you know, do Frenchie things. So just so you're aware. I'll stop it if it gets too bad. I had to stop during pile number 2 a million times because of my cat. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. So I feel like, if I could be honest, I really want to be more like you guys, pile number 3, based on the vibes that I'm picking up here. I feel like you guys may have some psychic abilities in this group, especially with the shaman and the bardo coming through here. I feel like you may be someone that has seen the dead or felt the presence of spirits your entire life. I feel like you guys are very guided by your intuition in this group, so much to the point where it's almost second nature to you. Like, you don't even realize that you're being intuitively guided. You definitely have a very strong intuition. You read other people in the room like the back of your hand, but I don't get the sense that you guys are like really like woo-woo about it, if you know what I mean. I feel like you have a good head on your shoulders and you have really found balance in the physical realm. You just have a really good understanding of when you should be relying more on your logical brain versus your intuition and vice versa. You are really good at using your discernment, much better than others. I actually learned recently about how not everyone even has the ability to judge things with discernment, especially people that have like complex PTSD, people that have traumatic brain like injuries that have been caused by trauma, people that are autistic, people even with like ADHD brains don't always know how to use their discernment. But I feel like that's something that you guys are really, really good at. You just have this ability to like judge things for what they are, and not everyone, like I said, has the ability to do that. And I think that that's something that really sets you guys apart, pile number 3. I feel like you're also really good at seeing when something, or like, excuse me. Oh, sorry. My dog kind of threw me off here for a second. He's like aggressively licking his paws. Bro, can you stop? That'd be great. Thank you. Okay. Sorry about that. So I feel like you're also really good at sensing when something is off or when something isn't going to work out, especially here with like the storm card. I feel like you are very instinctual that way. So like for instance, like what I'm sensing with this all is like I grew up in Kansas. I grew up in like Tornado Alley. And I don't know, you kind of get this sense after a while like which storms are going to be worse than others, but sometimes like you get a surprise and a tornado happens. But one thing that I always remember being told when I was younger is to pay attention to the animals. So like if you're no longer hearing birds outside chirping, if there's no animal in sight, like no rabbits, squirrels, anything like that, like, cause I always lived in the city in Kansas, like not the country. I know Kansas just seems to be like it's all country, but I lived like eastern side, like, you know, where all of the cities actually were. And anyway, I grew up being told that like you need to pay attention to the animals because the animals have like the best instinct in knowing like when a storm's coming in, the severity of the storm, and it's like very telling. It's interesting because like whenever tornadoes happen or had happened when I was younger, it's like dead silence, and then it sounds like a freaking train coming down the railroad tracks. Like so I really get this sense that like the animals, in the case of a storm, in the case of conflict, in the case of an issue, you're just very instinctual, and it's kind of like you already know like what the outcome will be before everybody else does. Let me just get a drink of water here real quick. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. Again, I feel like your instincts are literally as sharp as your mind is. You also recognize the value of study and really being knowledgeable in the area you are wanting to teach on or work in. Again, I just overall feel like you're very balanced in your approach to things. You know that both science and mysticism have their place. You are both reasonable and spiritual. And this is your gift, pile number 3. This makes you unique in how you navigate life, as this is not something everyone is capable of. I really, really feel like you guys, especially here with like the 2 of Pentacles coming out, like I just really feel like you've found your balance, like I said, in the physical realm. Like you understand the importance of logic and science, but you also know that there aren't always things that can be explained. You understand that mysticism has its place in certain areas. And I really get the sense that you're very open. Like, you're just very open to different ideas and possibilities and scenarios. And like, I think that's why maybe at a young age, for some of you, you have been psychic, you've been able to communicate with the spirit, or you've seen spirit, or you felt spirit, because you're just very open to the possibility of being able to communicate with the dead or being able to see the dead. Like, I just feel like you came into this world and you knew that there was something else. You knew that, like, the bardo, which is essentially like almost, I guess Catholics would probably consider it to be purgatory, but it's literally like the border between this life and the next life. And you understand, it's like you knew that those things existed. And it's almost like really interesting, pile number 3, because I get this sense that, like, for you, it's just like an everyday occurrence. This stuff just kind of happens, and like, you're not scared, you're not fearful. You've never been given the reason to be fearful, but you're also not, like, you don't buy into all of the BS that Hollywood puts out about like how, you know, scary like spirit is, how scary hauntings can be, blah blah blah. And it's like, not that you don't believe that that could be the case, but you've never had that experience, and it's just allowed you to stay like open to the possibility of communicating with spirit. But again, like, it's interesting because the shaman card actually does talk a lot about knowledge. It talks about being like the mentor and studying, and how like shaman can also be literally like teachers, doctors, people that have really had to learn and study their profession in order to be able to like teach and be knowledgeable and, you know, have the information that other people are seeking out. And so that's why I really do think that you guys are like this perfect balance between I'm so sorry. My French bulldog is being himself. He just got into the beanbag chair that he was in a little bit earlier. But anyway, I just feel like you guys are literally like this perfect balance between the spiritual and the logical. And like with the Chariot coming up here in particular, I feel like you guys are really good at knowing when you need to use your intuition and your instinct to make a decision, and when you should allow your logical brain to come in to help make those decisions. Like, and you just do it so effortlessly, pile number 3. It's like second nature to you, like I had mentioned, and you don't even think about it. It's just, you know, like what you're used to. Because again, you're very driven by instinct and intuition, but not in the sense where you are illogical, not in the sense where you don't ever think things through, not in the sense where you make like rushed, hasty decisions. It's just that you just have this like inner knowing of, oh, this is something that I really need to be more logical about. This is something that I need to make a gut decision about, that I need to use my intuition about. Like, I think that's really cool, pile number 3. Like I said in the beginning, like, I want to be more like your pile, because I think that a lot of us, like myself included, have a hard time knowing when to like use one over the other, and knowing when it's an okay situation to really trust our intuition versus relying on logic more. And I just think you guys are literally the perfect balance of that. So let's go ahead and take a look. I apologize too for like my computer going off a couple times. Like I had mentioned to you guys, like I am using like my laptop to actually type up notes, like type up a little synopsis of your tarot cards. And of course, people like to text me and actually send me messages when I'm busy. Like, no one talks to me otherwise. So whatever. Anyways, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle your other oracle cards here and see what other information we can get from Spirit here about you guys. Ooh, not quite that many. Since this one was face up, I guess we can take this. So we've got victory. Let's aim for one more card here, Spirit. I also really feel like you guys are very in touch with your emotions. You don't allow your emotions to control you by any sense of the word, but you're very much so in tune with the way that you're feeling. And I feel like you guys are really good actually at stepping back and observing your feelings. And this may not be the case for all of you yet, but I do feel like for a lot of you, like you have the ability to do that, because especially like the Queen of Cups coming up, it very much so gives me like, I'm in touch with my feelings. I do not let them drown me, you know? But also like the Queen of Cups is very intuitive. And again, I feel like you guys are super intuitive, just like very in touch with your emotions, your intuition, your creativity, on a level that other people are not. And I think that this really makes you guys stand out. And I really do truly feel like your ability to balance your logic with your mysticism is your gift, pile number 3. Okay, let's go ahead and cut. See what else we got here. Cleansing. My gosh, I've been getting like the same cards today. It's so weird. I got cleansing for pile number 1 as well. So actually, for those of you that are very spiritual, that are, you know, able to communicate with the dead, able to sense the dead, it may help you from time to time to really cleanse your space and make sure that there's not a lot of stagnant energy there. I really get the sense that for some of you in particular, there may be certain spirits that like are with you or follow you or kind of attached to you that may not even necessarily be spirit guides, but could be other spirits that don't necessarily mean any harm. Maybe they just really like you. They really like your energy and they're very energetically drawn to you. They like what you put out essentially. And so they may have come across you and just kind of decided to stick around. And that's okay if like you're fine with them being there. But for those of you that maybe want to get rid of those energies, want to clear out your space, like it is okay to cleanse. Just make sure you're doing it properly. Make sure that you look into it before doing it, because there's a lot more to it than just lighting some sage or lighting, you know, whatever. What is that other one? Palo Santo? Yeah, I think so. So there's a lot that goes into it other than just that. So just be careful if that's something that you're wanting to pursue. But irregardless, I think it'd be helpful for you to cleanse your space, even if it's not by like burning sage or something. You know, people use like Florida water. They use other certain things to like really cleanse their space and like clear out the old energy. And so I think that's something that'll be very important for a lot of you guys, especially because you are intuitive and you really do read off of like energy of people and places, and it's helpful when like your own energy is like nice and, you know, clean and fresh essentially, right? Because then you're not feeding into that same kind of energy every day. So just something to like keep in mind. And you know, for some of you too, I feel like this could be coming up because for you to stay mentally clear, for you to stay in that logical aspect of your brain, it'll just be important for you to like cleanse, period. Like cleanse yourself, cleanse your space, and like, I mean, cleaning also. So like making sure you have a well organized, tidy space so that you're able to think. You know, I don't know if this is the case with everybody, but I've actually seen studies about how our space affects our mental health, and it affects our ability to process and to reason. Sometimes when we're in a really like messy space where things aren't organized, it can cause that same effect to our brain. So if you're somebody that's really impacted by like the energy of your space and, you know, everything that may need to be picked up or cleaned, then I would really suggest that you make sure that you set aside time to cleanse your space and to, you know, even move furniture around or get rid of things or whatever it is that helps you feel like the most mentally clear. With victory coming up here, guys, I really feel like this is Spirit's way of saying, again, like, you guys, this is your gift. Like, your ability to balance these things out so beautifully is your gift. And it can lead you to a lot of prosperity and a lot of happiness in your life. just because, again, you're so open, you're so intuitive, and I feel like you take chances and opportunities more frequently than other people will because you trust yourself, you trust like that things are going to work out for you, and you also trust that you have this like uncanny ability to just kind of know when something is right for you and when something isn't. Some people are really, really good at that, like better than others, and I really truly think you guys are one of those people that you just put yourself in an environment, or you put yourself around certain people, or you consider certain options, and it's like a yes or no for you immediately, and you just know. And again, with some situations, you're more logical about it, and you're like, all right, well, I can't just rely on this yes or no. Like, there are more things that go into it than just that, but I don't know. I just feel like you guys, and I think that this will lead you to a lot of potential opportunities as well, because you're so open to how things can potentially play out. So yeah, I think that essentially like Spirit is saying, hold on to this. This will lead you to victory. This will lead you to happiness. This will allow you to accomplish the things that you want to in life, because you won't be afraid to go after the things that somebody else may never go after. And then let's go ahead and take a look at your last set of oracle cards here, pile number 3. But I think that overall, like for me, my whole goal here was to just remind you guys how like powerful you are, and how incredible it is that you're able to do what you do, and you're able to just like, I don't even know, like live your life this way. And for such a long time, like you literally have done this without even thinking about it. And so I think that for me in particular, so I got a little distracted by looking at those cards, but for me in particular, my goal here is to just remind you that you guys already know so much. You're so instinctual, so intuitive, and you really have this beautiful connection between you and the spiritual side. And, this is like your gift. This is what you've been given in this lifetime to help navigate and get you where you need to be. And this was important for you to have, I feel like. So anyway, I just think that you guys don't give yourself enough credit for how well you make decisions and how well you go about deciding the biggest things in your life. And I think you do need to give yourself more credit and like also a little bit more grace, because obviously no one's perfect, and sometimes we're going to make bad decisions. Sometimes we're going to do things that we regret. This is something silly, but it just made me think of this. So like, it was like months ago now. My husband and I went to go to the Cheesecake Factory because we just wanted the cheesecake for dessert. Okay, so we order our cheesecake there, and they like pack it up for us so that we can leave and we can eat our cheesecake at home. And when we left, I just had this feeling that like I needed to check and make sure that we got the right cheesecake, right? And we got to the car and it was already dark out, and I was just like, it's fine, it's whatever, like we ordered there, it should be correct. We get to our house, we put the cheesecake away, we do other stuff, and then when we're finally ready to eat the dessert, we go into the bag, and my husband's, like, they gave him the wrong cheesecake, so his cheesecake was wrong. And I was just like, I knew I should have checked. And that was like confirmation to me that like I need to check, like trust my intuition more. So like, I don't know, things are gonna happen where you're like, dang it, I should have trusted myself more, or dang it, like I should have relied on my logical brain a little bit more, and that's okay. But overall, I feel like you guys like 90% of the time do a really good job of making decisions for yourself. So then we also have for you here, Taurus, I have, and we have Void of Course Moon missing. It's funny, I actually read about the Void of Course Moon not that long ago, and I literally cannot remember what it said, but I would like to read from the book for that one. I'm like totally blanking right now, but I have been reading more about like the phases of the moon and essentially like what that can mean. But I believe with the void of course moon, oh, now I'm remembering. So the void of course moon can literally occur when, so let's say that the moon is at the point where it's about to shift into the next sign, but it hasn't done that yet. So essentially, like the moon is at 30 degrees Taurus, for instance, and it's about to move into Gemini, but it hasn't done that yet. It hasn't officially moved into the next sign. So at that point, the moon is considered void of course because it's out of Taurus, or it's about to head out of Taurus, but hasn't moved into Gemini yet. So it's essentially like, I'm trying like my best to phrase this. I think I'm still going to go ahead and read it from the book because I don't know enough, clearly. So let me go ahead and read that. It's something that I'm still like learning and working on. Okay, so we've got 52, void of course moon. Where'd you go? Next one. Okay. Void of course moon missing. The moon is a friend for the lonesome to talk to. All is not as it seems. The void of course moon card can be daunting. It may not be a good or appropriate time to answer your question. As it is now, the results may not be what you want. What is a void of course moon? The moon travels through the entire zodiac in 27 and a half days. There is a moment when the moon makes its last major aspect before leaving one sign and entering the next. It's as if the moon has gone to sleep. Her wisdom is being withheld until she moves into a new sign, and the moon begins a new chapter or story. The usual axiom of starting things on a void of course moon is nothing will come of the matter. Matters will not go as you planned. In fact, most of the time, it will end up far worse than you planned. You have been caught blissfully unaware. You've missed something or you weren't paying close enough attention, but you won't be able to set the situation right at the current time. This card says to sit still and stay as you are. Take no action at the current time. Wait for the storm to pass over. It is time to be patient and allow matters to settle before beginning anew. Allow this matter to resolve on its own without your help, work, or interference. Don't bail anyone out or make loans currently because it is unlikely you will be repaid. Medical results will probably not be accurate. If your question is about a job or career move, then it's not the right one. If you apply for a job and get hired, it will not be long lasting. It's possible you will get hired and then a more suitable job will come along and you will have to leave the first one. Okay, so basically, you guys, what I'm gathering here, though, is essentially what I had just been talking about. Like, how sometimes you're not always going to know. Sometimes you're not always going to make the most perfect decision all of the time. But again, the void of course moon doesn't happen super frequently. Like, it's not something that happens every single day. So I feel like the majority of the time, you guys are able to make a well thought out decision, whether it be because of your intuition, your instincts, whether it be because of your logical brain, whether it be because of both. Like, for the most part, you guys are really able to make good decisions for yourself and make good decisions about your life, just based off of like the information and the facts that you have. Again, no one's perfect. No one does anything perfectly all of the time. And that's the point, right? So that we can mess things up sometimes and learn from what's happened. So I think that this is just a reminder from spirit to not be so hard on yourself when like your intuition isn't perfect or when your logical brain fails you, because those things will happen. Things happen. We don't always make the best decisions. And sometimes like we are heavily impacted by outside forces as well. Other people's opinions, other people's energy, other people's thoughts about us or about our decisions. So don't be so hard on yourself if you're not perfect 100% of the time, because you guys, like, you literally make such good decisions. Like, again, like I said earlier, 90% of the time, I feel like you make really good thought out decisions, and you tend to make the decisions that are the best ones for you. And again, like, that's not something everybody is capable of. A lot of us live by trial and error, where we do something and it doesn't work out, so we try something else, and then we try something else, and then we try something else. Like, you have this ability to just kind of know already that something is right for you or something isn't. And I think that you don't give yourself enough credit for that, and it like puts you leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people. So just keep that in mind. With Taurus, I have coming out here, it's very interesting because, you know, I really get like Scorpio vibes from this pile. I got Scorpio vibes from the first pile as well. And maybe it's just because I'm a conceited little Scorpio and I want everything to be about Scorpio. I don't know, but it's interesting because Taurus is Scorpio's opposite sign. So you could be a Taurus. You could have really strong Taurus placements in your chart. You could also be well aligned with the nodes right now, where Taurus, the North Node, is in Taurus. This could also have to do with how like the Taurus full moon just happened and there was a full moon eclipse, and it could have to do with that, and you kind of still living out this energy right now, and maybe you feel like you haven't been making the best decisions for yourself, and that's okay because it's kind of a chaotic time right now, and you know, we have that eclipse hangover for a while, so don't worry about it so much. Also, I get the feeling that, again, Taurus is what grounds you. So I feel like this is Spirit once again saying that you are very well grounded into the physical realm, and you're not too woo-woo. You're not too like up in the spiritual realm. Like, again, you see the balance and the beauty in both of them. And I think that that makes you guys really special, pile number 3, and it really sets you guys apart. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and leave your reading here. I really hope that this was helpful and that you enjoyed this. If it resonated with you, please leave me a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up so it can reach as many people as possible that may also need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new pick a card readings every week, or at least a new tarot reading every week. I love you guys so much, hoping all of the best for you on your journey. And I really do hope that this allowed you to see yourself from somebody else's perspective, and for it to really, you know, allow you to feel good about who you are and the abilities that you have. So anyway, love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Hope to see you in next week's reading. Bye.